Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Core Podcast. It's the 14th of January 2025. Happy New Year to everybody. I'm back on the saddle this week after some time off, and I feel rejuvenated. I feel good about this year. I hope this is going to be a year of great opportunities for you, and we are working hard on our end to make it an incredible year for us. First on the docket, there's no news to speak of, but the M&A market is looking like it's going to go on fire this year. We are also working on some interesting deals we hope to announce closer to closure, largely around small caps and micro caps. I had a squiz at a report that came out late last year on the future of, or the state at least, of venture capital. And it's very interesting to see that throughout Africa, venture capital investment has declined by a factor of 30%. It's quite alarming to think that, what, the opportunities that lie within the continent are significantly greater than people give it value, and we are not getting the kind of capital required to actually make that a reality. In any case, let's see what 2025 has got in store for us. I think it's going to be a year that gives us a lot of interesting opportunities. Some, like I said, the mergers and acquisition space looks like it's going to be on fire this year. So let's hope that there will be some deal making that happens throughout the year of 2025. As a family, we back on the saddle indeed with that. We are now looking to go back to school. Kids are packed. Everyone is ready to go for the new academic year, which starts in about a day or two. And it's all systems go. And I think after this holiday, I hope that I will be able to endure 2025. Interesting thing, I was speaking to a friend at the later part of last year, and I realized that I had not been African in my approach to launching this podcast. I did not formally introduce myself and the journey that I have traveled. So, one of the key things that came out is that even if one offers great content and accessibility to stuff, if you don't really indicate your bona fides, you won't really be able to get people to come on board and travel the road with you. So, as I speak over this episode, it may be of great value to have a single point of departure and reference, and at the same extent, indicate why I've embarked on this podcast as a natural extension of my entrepreneurial journey. So, welcome to our third episode. I am Yonga Masqueia, your guide to all things entrepreneurial and innovative. And more importantly, welcome to the Core Podcast, where we dive to the essence of business, entrepreneurship, and venturing. So, I'm quite a huge fan of large language models, or LLMs. My favorite being AIs such as ChatGPT, as well as Google's Gemini. This week I got a chance to try out X's Grok, and I'm pleasantly surprised. As efficiency enabling tools, these LLMs allow me to develop and structure documents far greater in number than I would if I was working on my own. So they really get me going, and I'm able to get through so many more documents, whether it is to synthesize a document, to develop a document, or just starting off with my thoughts around a particular subject matter. So I found it very interesting that uh, many people don't really use this because they save me anywhere between 8 to 12 hours a week on research. 4 weeks ago, I authored a white paper on VC collaboration within South Africa, which I'm convinced I would not have been able able to tie up in the time that I had if it wasn't for LLMs. So, in the same spirit, I decided to use the newly discovered one, Grok specifically, to introduce myself, as I do not read any articles of myself, something that I've been doing or not doing since the beginning, trying not to give interviews about me as few as I possibly can, but would happily do interviews and talk about the brands, products, or services that we offer. So I found it daunting to write something about myself. And thankfully to Grok, I was able to put a few things together. So let me read some of the stuff that I got from Grok, and we can take it from there. So, as you know, my name is Yongama Squia. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm from South Africa, and with a notable presence in various industries, particularly in craft gin sector and venture capital. So my journey is one of interesting stuff that as soon as I got out of varsity, I was able to found a digital marketplace for intellectual property emanating from publicly financed research. This was called TechTeak. The product itself has now been taken over by the Ministry of Science and Innovation, and it's currently in its third iteration, if I'm not mistaken, and it's called the Innovation Bridge, an incredible platform that allows for South Africans to actually go out and find intellectual property or technologies that is protected to commercialize for their own means, but also under the IRP Act of 2008, which enables us as South Africans to effectively commercialize all research emanating from publicly financed anything. So taxpayer money has been used in the most diligent way possible, and I was able to be at the start of that. Then from that experience, I was able to move over to personal entrepreneurial endeavors, and I've been involved in numerous industries. Some have been great experiences, others not so much. But anyway, let me go back to what Grok says. Yongama Square has been involved in entrepreneurship from a young age, even envisioning his own business, Square Inc., at 7 years old. I have no idea how they knew this, but yeah, it is what it is. He co-founded Pimville, which is described as an African gin made for Africans, celebrating African flavors and culture. This gin is known for its bold flavors, including juniper, marula fruit, baobab, and African ginger. He is the managing partner at Isimoves Venture Capital Partners, where he focuses on investing and supporting startups, particularly those in deep tech that stem from publicly financed research. He has experience in a range of sectors, including SaaS, green tech, agri-tech, food tech, mobile gaming, and marketing. Educational background: Square studied at Stellenbosch University, earning a commerce degree in entrepreneurship and innovation. Early in his career, he started businesses like Isimosetu Logistics and Isimosetu Investments while a student. He has worked in roles that enhance innovation and commercialization, including a position at Innovis, Stellenbosch University's Industry Interaction and Innovation Company, and as a business developer at the Developer Factory. Well, I'm quite impressed with this. It's about 95% of the information is accurate. There are some missing pieces, but really quite on point. Notable mistakes that I found was that being a business developer or a business development manager at Developer Factory, I was the founding managing director at the Developer Factory, and when we exited business to DataSolve. I ended up becoming a business development manager at DataSolve for about a year and a half. I found it very interesting. Uh, my passion, so I had very interesting passion and foray into the world's uh, biggest industry, which is food. And this was spanning farming, processing, marketing, and sales. It's something that I've always loved to do. For 4 years, I actually farmed physically, putting stuff in the ground, also coordinating organic beef from the Eastern Cape to the Western Cape. So I've been able to do a lot of interesting things around understanding what commodities move, um, the value chains that are involved in certain industries, and various other things that make life quite interesting. And in that experience, especially when I was doing agricultural businesses, I realized that it is really difficult to be able to command the kind of price point that you require in order to be successful within your business. I realized that, a potato that is farmed organically in the middle of nowhere with no pollution is as much value as a potato farmed in industrial areas, because as a commodity, it has no ability to have its own unique branding or understanding of anything like that. And I realized, in the long run, as great as and fulfilling agriculture is, it's not something that would particularly make me happy. I would always be on the back foot. I will always be a price taker, and I will never have the opportunity to actually build something that I feel is of worth. I've seen various examples and friends with many um, big agricultural families that have been successful at effectively positioning their brands around agriculture, whether it is in the carrot industry, onion industry, as well as the tomato industry, and they've done incredible work. But I found it very difficult for myself in order to carve out a niche. And I realized, you know what, I think the best course of action would be to find something that can be effectively branded, effectively positioned in order to command the kind of price point that makes sense for me and what I would like to achieve in terms of returns. And therefore, I moved out of the agricultural space, and I effectively embarked on um, alcohol and branded spirits. And that was quite an eye-opening and interesting point there. There were some incredible opportunities that we came across. There were some heartaches when we couldn't land a brewery that we had worked for a year to raise funds to purchase. And at the final hour, the owner decides that they no longer want to sell to us. So there's been some incredible movements around the alcohol space. Um, it culminated also with the losses one suffered during COVID shutdown within South Africa. The government of the day decided that during COVID we would have total lockdown as a country, but also on top of the total lockdown, there was prohibitive measures on the sale, distribution, and marketing of tobacco products as well as alcohol products. And we ended up losing out on a huge opportunity there, while our brand prior to that was quite robust and available in various formats and at various price points for different market segments that we had identified. I think at a later stage, I will have a conversation on the different ways upon which we went about making a success of our alcohol business based on my understanding of UX, marketing, placement, as well as the lessons that we learned, some not uh, actively but passively learning in terms of who is the real target market versus with the perceived market that we think we were serving. Because essentially, we had in mind that this was a product that was geared for millennials, young people who wanted a good life, a nice life, and they wanted to showcase this nice life on social media. But essentially, for them to have access to a product, they have to buy it from someone, and that is truly the customer, he or she who you sell your stuff to. And we needed to find a strategy of actually appealing to them and making them understand that, you know what, it's no no risk opportunity to buy our product, because the people that we want to actually consume the product will come through and consume it, and various tactics and strategies were developed in order to make that a reality. So I think at a later stage, I'll go more in depth as to how we went about doing that, and also what we overcame in the markets that we were dealing with, were both in within our domestic market, but also in international markets. So yeah, I've had a very interesting life. I've had 14 years of being able to build things, uh, and I keep on building things with other entrepreneurs. I no longer really want to be an entrepreneur, hence CORE, which is Confessions of a Recovering Entrepreneur. I would rather now just want to support entrepreneurs and see how we can go about it. And as a previous operator, as I am now being termed within the venture capital space, it's also always wonderful to see how we can be of assistance to entrepreneurs, myself, as well as our partners within the business and other entities that we have partnered with over the years. 3, 4 years into our venture capital foray, we've been able to learn a lot. We've been able to meet up with a lot of entrepreneurs. But more importantly, we've been able to support entrepreneurs the way that we would have liked to have been supported when we started. Because the whole premise around Isimavest was to actually be an advocate for entrepreneurial development, and more importantly, as a focal point of early stage startups, be the first money or one of the first monies that come into a startup. Because, in our ecosystem, we do not have the luxury of family fools and early stage funders that come through. So we wanted to be that opportunity, that so-called rich uncle that comes through and helps out entrepreneurs, but also from a basis of having developed startups, understanding what it takes to develop a startup, and also what kind of entrepreneurial skills and entrepreneurial understanding one needs to have in order to be an entrepreneur. So we look at both those, the business itself and its merit, but also the team or the founder, to understand whether this has any legs to go about it. And as far as possible, we try and match these things and we push on forward, helping out with what we'll term internally as the three bases for capital. Firstly, it is financial capital. Everybody understands that it is money, investment into a particular thing. Everybody has that. Money is a commodity in many areas. Then we've got sweat capital, where one or more of our GPs or even our venture partner would also sit either at operations level within a particular startup in order to get things going and to help out in terms of structure and form in it as to try and move the business needle as fast as possible in order to be formalized and to actually get to a point where they can start looking at a pre-seed round of investment. So we call that involvement sweat capital. Then I think the most important one and the third one, it is social capital, where we are able to open doors. Years of experience within our business and the different partners has allowed us to have access to multiple executives and thought leaders and decision makers in various industries. And we are able to open those doors to entrepreneurs under our portfolio in order to be able to help grow their businesses as best as we possibly can. So our focus is on those three uh, pillars in order to partner with entrepreneurs, and we try our very best to go about doing that. And being back at my office, yesterday was day one, and I already took my first call for the year. And I love the enthusiasm of entrepreneurs. I love what people want to achieve and make happen. But I'm always skittish about how alignment is not something that we focus on as entrepreneurs within South Africa. Because the entrepreneur that I had a conversation with yesterday, I could hear the passion that he has and the desire of making a difference within South Africa. But I did not agree with the means by which he was going about it. Firstly, the chosen entity is a non-profit. I've got nothing against non-profits, but I feel they lack the robustness of being fully present or being of real responsibility, because a non-profit goes out to the world and begs for money and hopes for the best, while a commercial entity goes out to the world, begs for money, and makes that money work in order to be sustainable. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand the sustainability part of it, because capital moves readily from a safe haven to yet another safe haven. So it's very difficult to get funding if you are not a safe haven, having proven that you understand the market that you want to enter and that you are actually going to make money within that market, which offers the sustainability aspect of being within your entrepreneurial environment. So it's very important that people find these alignment by going to the most relevant funder for your entity, whether it is based on the kind of technology or the industries that that funder funds or something else. You need to find specific alignment. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting your time. You're going to be wasting the time of the funder, and you're going to find that, you know what, 3 years later and you've actually not achieved anything because you were never in a position to actually go out and do that. Well, this whole episode was about introducing myself, and I went on into other things. You will find that is my nature. But all in all, what I wanted to do is to do formal introductions, especially now starting the new year, that we can go on this journey together, knowing at least that I am involved in entrepreneurial endeavors, to be able to give the sentiments that I have, and able to say the things that I say, and also to have the opinions that I have, because I live within this ecosystem. And I hope to be of significant value and of service to each and every one of you who is a listener, that you can actually call on this pod to actually go on and get as much information as you possibly can. Once again, Happy New Year. I wish you the very best for this year. And I think on that note, we end our third but first episode for 2025. For all things entrepreneurial, signing off from the Core Podcast. Thank you so much. Goodbye.